I've got a secret weapon for beating these thistles. Cardboard. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of cardboard. Welcome to the No Dig Allotment, episode 1. This is the patch that you saw us working on in the last episode, where we were breaking up and removing a lot of the bricks and rubble from this particular spot. And what I did afterwards was I then covered it in a very thick layer of black plastic, and as you can see, it's done quite a good job of killing back the thistle that were at the surface. Now that root and stem that you see exposed is quite spongy, but it's the roots themselves under the soil are still quite strong. So I'm going to start making some beds here, and the first ingredient is obviously manure. Now I'm a bit disappointed in this because I dug through it and there isn't a single red worm to be seen, not a single one. So the approach that I'm taking is simply to layer quite a thick amount of cardboard onto the surface, and then on top of that I'm going to start spreading manure, and that's what the first little bed looks like once it's been raked down. Now on top of that I'm going to put compost and some topsoil, but I'm not going to get that done today. I've covered it then with a weed suppressing membrane which will let moisture through, but it won't let any light, so that should continue to kill off any weed seeds and the thistle. Well, the thickness of the cardboard and that manure should see the thistle off once and for all, I hope. Now I'm quite lucky that in the sense the local shop has kept all this cardboard for me, and he's quite happy to do so. So there'll be quite a few trips to the local shop to pick up these cardboards on Tuesdays, I think he said, to come. So I'm gonna that's just another look at the thistle. Now the problem with thistle is, although you can see how soft it is there, it just pretty much disintegrates in the hand. But if you go down under the soil, the root is still quite strong, and I understand it could take quite a few years before the plant itself just runs out of energy and gives up. The problem is we're looking at that root, that piece of stem and root there, but the end of that root is somewhere in New South Wales, Australia. So that's the problem with this stuff. Anyhow, I'm just going to, everywhere I find it, I'm just going to keep removing it, and hopefully it will run out of energy before I do. So I'm going to move on now and start making the next bed, which will complete one 30-foot side by about, I think it's about 6 or 7 feet wide. You can see what I've done there with the cardboard. I've made sure to have a big overlap on it, and I've also double and tripled the cardboard where the cardboard itself was quite thin. So beer boxes and stuff like that, it's a very thin cardboard. The tomato boxes and apple boxes, they're a lot thicker. So I'm trying to make absolutely sure there's no gaps for these thistles to find. And I'm carting up the manure in a 35-litre bucket. So this is quite exhausting, actually. I haven't had such a good workout since the last time Mrs. Worm said chase me. But I need to invest in a wheelbarrow, there's no doubt about that. I'm too old for this. So that's the next bed. A very, very thick layer of manure which will be raked down flat. It'll compress down a lot more than that over time, and when I add the compost and the topsoil onto it, even more so. But I'm aiming to end up with 10-inch or so raised beds. And that's that bit finished. Split into two beds. I'm not quite sure why that happened. I think the first bed, the size of the first bed was determined by the size of the weed membrane I had to hand. And then I went out and got another bigger roll. So that's it. It also allowed me to move the plastic over to the very end of the plot. I didn't have quite enough to cover it all, so the whole patch is now covered, and I've still got a little bit of cardboard left, which I'm holding down with a pallet there. So that's it for now. Not a terribly exciting episode, but I have started to get the beds into shape. Compost and topsoil will be the next thing to add to them, and then I'll make another 30-foot long bed, but I'll make it narrower, I think, than the ones I've just made. Although if I put a path along the edge of there, we will be able to get to all of the bed from both sides, because the outer edge is against the path there, as you can see. So that's it for now. As always, thanks ever so much for watching. I'll probably put an update up in the next 2 weeks or so when I get a chance to get back down to the allotment. Please remember to like, to share, and in these particularly difficult times of YouTube, I'd be very grateful if you subscribe to this channel. Thanks as always. Bye for now.